But right now, we have a special guest in the studio. Thank you for coming in. It's Kellyanne. We didn't get your last name.
It's Oxtoby.
Oxtoby. Okay, we need to go way closer. Russell, how's it going? That's okay. That's okay. We're going to make sure you got to lean in. Don't be any more. You don't need to be nervous out there.
Oh, no.
Because if you're in a little closer, it'll be the same amount of nervousness and we'll hear you better. So that's all I wanted to say about that. So thank you for coming in. You are here representing Coming Out Green.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about Coming Out Green, and we'll get into your story.
Coming Out Green, I'm building a site where people
A little bit closer.
Okay. Where people can come and find information about cannabis, about the different ways to consume cannabis, what it can help you with, just a place where people can feel comfortable without the stereotype or stigma of all the negativity that's out there.
Provided by the people they pay taxes to tell them what's up. Right. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you. And how did you find them? Are you the founder or?
I'm the founder.
You're the founder.
Yes,
okay.
It's my thing.
It's your thing. Okay. So Coming Out Green. So I guess the nature behind that is coming out. That's like parallel to the gender sort of issues coming out.
Standing up, speaking out.
Yeah,
being
you feel
proud
like
that you were able to consume a natural remedy for your illness,
and maybe
without
you were
shame,
doing it earlier without telling anyone because of shame.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so Kellyanne, you're a woman in your 40s.
Yes.
And if you could sort of take us back to high school, did you ever smoke joints in high school?
No.
No, I already tipped that at the beginning of the show. You didn't go to the parties and smoke the joints. Were you drinking beer?
Parties.
You went to
I was
the parties?
drinking beer, but it was just never anything that crossed my radar. I just didn't feel I needed it. I had friends, and I never judged them. People can do what's good for them or what they feel is good for them. I'm never going to judge somebody for it, but it wasn't for me at that time.
Okay, so then you get out of high school and college, university, whatever. Never tried it there?
No.
You went there? You went there and you didn't try it?
No.
Okay, so all the likely entry points, you weren't a user.
No, I've been sitting in a room with people that, partake, but I hadn't myself.
So even at that point, you wouldn't support a legislation that would put your partaking friends behind bars?
Oh, God, no.
Right.
No.
So that's also the majority of people you speak with about these topics and that issue is the majority of people don't want this. I'm going to keep ramming that point home that the government that keeps pounding this stuff to us is very much on the thin end of the wedge. So tell us about, so you're moving out of college years and now you're pushing into your 30s, et cetera, and you're this person who never, condemns anyone who uses it, but you don't partake, and then one day you did. So just describe the series of events that took you to that day.
Well, I guess I was about 27 when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Okay.
And it's a very painful illness. Hurts to be hugged, to be touched. Even sometimes the clothes hurt to be on.
Wow.
So it's like kind of a constant 24/7 pain. And I've been on every medication that was out there that they recommended, including allergic shots where they take these huge needles and shoot them in your head, neck, back once a week. And crazy pain, but didn't help either. And I guess I was about 45 when I reached my end. Like, the pain was just too much. And it just kept getting worse and worse. The medications they kept putting me on never helped me, just made me gain weight.
Give us a couple of those if you can remember their names.
Tramadol.
That didn't work? What did that do?
Makes you gain weight, causes almost like Tourette-like tics. So you're like twitching and spasming.
And this is probably listed on the package, but you got to take it anyway.
Oh, yeah. You have, your doctor says, this will be good for you. Take it. So you think, okay, I'm going to trust my doctor. I'm going to take it.
Sure.
But side effects like bleeding on the brain, possible, your heart can seize. Like, the side effects are crazy.
None of those happened to you.
No.
Did you discuss, were you getting any of the side effects or not?
I was getting the twitches and the muscle spasms and things like that. But my doctor said, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. It's like, okay, but I'm the one dealing with this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did you mention it to him? And it's so often the same story. I have the same story.
Oh, yeah.
They ask you about, do you feel any side effects? Sometimes. And then sometimes you have to tell them. And then the same thing happened to me. It was like, yeah, actually, this is happening. Wow, they just doff it off like
here,
it's nothing.
try this one then. Or this one. And they just line them up as you go.
Right. So that happened, and you're on a series of different pain pills and different things.
Yeah.
And so then they're not working out.
Not working out. I was at a really bad place, and my nephews, who I love dearly, they recommended I try medical cannabis, and I was kind of like, well, I never thought about doing that. I'm not a smoker, so
And can
how's
I
that
ask,
gonna work?
at this age, at that time, what age were you?
45.
45.
Yeah.
And you're going down Cannabis Street for the first time. Well, God love you. That's amazing. That must have been sort of strange for you.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
But,
So your nephews, and I'm guessing they were high school or university aged, right?
Yeah.
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 And they recommended it. And so then how did you do it? What was your first foray into this?
Well, the first thing I tried was I tried to make a joint, like roll a joint.
Oh, how did that go?
Not too great.
Not good?
No, because I'm not a smoker. So I'm like, okay,
Right.
how do you do this? So
It's
I rolled
tough,
one.
yeah.
Big inhale, burned my throat, coughing. My mother thought, okay, she's going to die on me here.
Right.
And I didn't feel anything.
Oh.
So it was like, okay. And my nephew's like, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, I guess maybe you burnt
okay.
it all.
So I decided to get a PAX, a vaporizer,
Okay.
to try and do it a different way because...
This segment brought to you by PAX. PAX, the vaporizer, a tiny little thing that looks like a remote control from outer space and a UFO. UFOs brought
But
to you by PAX. PAX. Once you get high on PAX, you see flying saucers. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
So
but
so
it's-
you like that one?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Is that a cool one?
It's a really good one.
They've got these little steel plates in there. You have
Yeah.
to kind of keep on top of switching those around.
Yeah, you have to keep it clean and everything, otherwise it kind of tastes kind of rank.
But it's super handy, though, right?
Oh, very
You
handy,
just zing it out,
discreet,
in and out.
like,
You'll be using
you know.
that to break the law shortly,
Oh,
hopefully.
yeah, no problem.
Once they
What are
pass
they gonna
the...
do, arrest me and throw me in jail?
I think they might.
Big deal.
I think you're a bad person,
Yeah,
and we
but
should
I'm very
persecute you.
outspoken, so they really don't want to put me behind bars.
Yeah, you'll just tell everyone else in
Yeah.
there. So, so now you're doing the packs. You went right from can't roll joints to the packs.
Yeah.
And someone at a store was helping you understand how this machine worked and how you have to
No,
grind
I just
this
ordered
stuff.
it online. It got
Oh,
delivered.
amazing.
My youngest nephew, who he's not a drinker, never has been. He prefers to
Okay.
partake in cannabis.
Sure.
So he was showing me how to use it, explaining things to me and everything.
He sounds like a reprehensible young man,
Oh, he's
going by
just-
the government perception. Of,
Oh,
we're trying to discourage this, you know.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's just so bad
no,
for
it's
you.
terrible. Here, oh God, have another brandy.
It's so bad for you that
Yeah.
we're going to open all those dispensaries and make money off of it, but don't take it.
Don't take it. Right. It's incredible, the paradox there. Yeah. So then, so you're rocking the packs, and what are you finding about your painful medical condition, fibromyalgia?
Basically, it doesn't really take the pain away fully, but it's almost like it creates a barrier so that it's kind of wraps the pain up and separates it from you so that you can be in a headspace that you can deal with it better.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. I read something that I don't have the article in front of me, but there was a brain. It used the brain barrier perception or something. I can't remember the exact thing, but it was where you do still have the pain, but it gets compartmentalized into a different place.
Yeah, so as long as you're not concentrating on it, it's really not there.
Right.
So it's great to have that kind of relief when you're constantly under the barrage of pain.
Right. So how are you now with the fibromyalgia at this time?
I'm off all medications except for medical cannabis.
Well, that's a crutch. You shouldn't
It
be
is.
using
It's
that as a
terrible.
crutch.
It's a gateway drug, and I might try crack next.
So that's really great. So how often do you partake, and in what formats? Is it always the packs or?
No, I use the packs just to get through until the medibles take effect.
The
so,
medibles.
Yes.
Oh, that's the medical edible.
Yes.
That is not in this new legislation.
No.
Not this proposal, I should
No.
say. It's not in
Neither
there.
is the cream.
Because we'll get to that later. Because we're already working on 60 stores for this gigantic province. Like, how big are we seriously compared to Texas? Does anybody know? Like, it's around the same, right? Not quite, but yeah, 60 stores. That ought to do it. So they've really got their shit together, and well, they've really got their shit anyway. So, what are you gonna do with the future of like? Where can we find you on Facebook, etc.? This is Coming Out Green.
Coming
or?
Out Green, or comingoutgreen.com or comingoutgreen.social.
Okay.
So the site is going to be up by the end of the month. There's going to be a social aspect where people can chat, just like Facebook, send messages, discuss, and I'll be available to answer questions and help them out. There'll be an information area, and also all the information that's going on out there, the studies, anything people are looking for to make them understand cannabis better, to feel better about partaking in it, to medicate, and to improve their lives and health.
Right.
So,
well, I guess we also need an education indoctrination program or whatever they're going to counter us with, because one of the things they're doing in the legislation is, as well as frowning upon it and profiting from it at the same time, they're also telling us that there's some education coming along the way. We're going to be providing the education, and if these people are already saying it's bad, it's wrong, these people are criminals, etc., I can't wait to see this indoctrination.
Yeah.
Have you seen the CAMH recommendations of the use of it? The number one recommendation is don't use it.
Yeah.
That's the number one. We know you're gonna, but don't. So that's the mindset of the people that are going to provide the education, and I'm as frustrated with them for doing it as I am surprised and disappointed in people who are generally walking around out there for believing in it.
Yeah.
I can't understand why anyone is taken by this.
Even my parents believe in it
Three-card
now.
Monty.
So, and
Even your parents.
My mom's 73 and my dad turned 80 in March.
So tell us about the time you were 40-something and you decided to tell your mom and dad that you were using cannabis. That didn't go down well.
Didn't go over well because they'd been bothering my nephews for years about, you're going to get schizophrenia. You can't take that. Don't do that. It's bad for you. Don't you watch those commercials and don't you look at the information? It says, no, don't use cannabis. And I just said to them, well, it's my last resort. What else am I going to do?
Full-blown arguments? Like
not too bad.
Thanksgiving table knockdown dragouts?
So I kind of knocked down all their points. I knocked down one by one with actual factual information and studies.
Actual factual.
Yep.
That's usually good for an argument. People get really upset when that happens.
Yeah. So, and now my mom actually is partaking in medical cannabis to help with her fibromyalgia and lupus.
Oh, wow. How's that going with lupus? What does she say about that?
It helps her a lot. So she's cutting back on the amount of medication, like the dosage. She's sleeping. She's not having as much pain. And one or two mishaps with enjoying the cookies too much.
What happened? What happened
I made
there?
her some cannabis cookies. Just, I
love
told her
these stories.
you have to start slow, little amount, start slow. But she was breaking off little pieces all day long because, hey, these taste really good.
And she's snapping them down like a normal mummy kind of does
later on,
cookies?
she's like lying in bed going, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I'm like, you're not going to die, Mom. Relax.
Everyone's had that
Just
experience.
Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And she ended up being fine, obviously, because nobody ever dies of cannabis.
Right.
But she still continued after that because she knew it was her fault. She didn't follow the instructions properly. And when you take too much,
she thought
that
she
can
could do it.
Yeah.
She thought she could do it.
But they taste good.
Yeah. That's funny. She is now listening, or did you tell her you were coming on?
She's going to be having surgery on Friday, so she's getting ready for.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, good luck with surgery, and I hope I'm glad, Mom, that you relented, and that you're also getting some relief out of this property. So, if you're just understanding what we're talking about now, folks and ladies and gentlemen and people and stuff, is that the whole concept of the medical user and the recreational user is far too blurry to begin to try to legislate against or for. I mean, you might as well try to set rules on which way chimney smoke can puff out of the top of a building, because it's not really going to be something you can control. And the longer you fight against it, of course, you have to understand there's obviously the desire is to have these black markets created. This is a time-worn kind of through history thing where when you limit access to something, you inherently propagate or create or boost the black market. So while they say it's important to them to deal with the black market, maybe they just mean that they're dealing with the black market. That's basically what they're doing at that point. But I'd like to thank you for coming in
Thank
and
you for
tell
having
us
me.
if you're going to have any events coming up or any kind of thing like that. Do you have anything to mention?
There'll be some things happening once I launch, and I'll let you know.
And what kind of time frame are we looking for?
Hopefully by the beginning of October, end of September, beginning of October. So I'm doing this all on my own. So it's
for Coming Out Green.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you and for coming on. And get on Facebook and take a look at Kellyanne at Coming Out Green, and she will explain it all to you. And now I'm going to spend a little bit of time just before we go on our crazy